Wasps, pretty big win in the end, 33 points to 14 over Montpellier. I'm supposed to be talking about Scarlets in Toulon, but that game got called off with the Toulon guys refusing to play, is what I read. Kind of makes sense. It was kind of an interesting one that the Scarlets won. Was due to go ahead anyway, but again, I am not a medical professional, so not really in a position to comment. Just as a layman, it seemed a bit weird that their game was able to go ahead when their opponents from last week's game was cancelled. So, anyway, that one's postponed. So I ended up watching Wasps and Montpellier. I just finished watching it now, and it's like 4 o'clock in the afternoon here in New Zealand. So it's way after the fact that I need to thank Simon actually for letting me know that seemingly in the last week, unless I'm mistaken, Sky Sports in New Zealand here actually picked up the rights to this competition, which means I can watch on demand instead of just live. That's a bit of an aside, but previously last week anyway, I swear Sky didn't have the games. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I ended up watching the games on the streaming service hosted by the competition itself, which means only live or nothing, so not as convenient. But anyway, I'm a happy chappy. I saw the game. There's a lot of tries. It was a bit of a weird game. I thought it was still kind of ugly. It didn't have that much flow, but it sure had some good tries. So a bit of a mixed bag. Yeah, someone agrees with me. They're texting me to tell me they agree. But yeah, I'll go over the main events of the game, the stats, and you guys can let me know what you thought about this one. Now, I didn't do a preview on it, but from what I understand, Wasps shifted up their side. They rested a few guys, so it was a pretty youthful looking squad. This guy Barbary ends up getting man of the match. I don't think I'd ever seen him play before, but he gets a couple of tries, try assists, yellow card, busy night at the office. But yeah, you'd have to say pretty good effort, and another disappointing one from Montpellier. But I also forgot to write on the board, actually. I forgot to get the old red marker out. This game, it was marked by a red card very early to old Henry Immelman for a high tackle on Porter, the halfback for Wasps. I mean, neither side was really having a lot of momentum early. I think Montpellier lost their own line out, and then they won a breakdown penalty immediately. So both sides kind of, erring. And then Montpellier missed touch. And then that was kind of what led to the ball being kicked to Porter. Immelman charges at him, and he whacks him, gets him in the head with his shoulder. Now, initially the ref calls out to the TMO and says, for me that's red unless you can tell me otherwise. And the TMO says, ooh, just let me check if he's dipping. Because it did seem as he was catching the ball, he kind of dipped down. And that's why he hit him high. But there's not actually that much of a dip, which is what the TMO says. I think he hits him high, whether he dips or not. So it's one of those ones, man. The way they ref the game these days, that's going to be a red card all day long. Shoulder to the head with force, unless the guy's really dropped by a lot. It's not going to end well. And it doesn't for Immelman. So Montpellier end up playing the majority of the game with a man down. 11 minutes actually, though, Montpellier missed a penalty. It was a good chance for them to get on the board despite being a man down. From that missed penalty, Sopoaga tries to do a little cheeky dink about like half a meter forward from the 22 dropout to try and retain possession, but the guy who gets it ends up knocking it on. So Montpellier get a scrum immediately, and they win a penalty, so another chance to have a shot at goal. So Sopoaga won't be all that happy with that result. Maybe it was a chance to just kick it long from the 22 dropout. But fortunately, they missed that penalty. So kicking boot's not on for Montpellier early. And the next 22 dropout, I think it was Gopeth, he just kicks it huge. As if to say, we ain't doing this short range stuff again. 15 minutes, Wasps have their first shot at goal, and they also miss. And on 19 minutes, Wasps' scrum actually starts to look a bit better. Sopoaga tries a little grabber through for Kibarigi, but it goes into touch. Wasps are starting to really turn the screws in terms of that man advantage. They eventually get their first try through Barbary on 23. It's not a real pretty one. They go through phases. He's about a meter out. There's a bit of a gap. He takes it. over for a try. They missed the conversion, so it's 5-0. Second try is a bit better. Gaskell's one. They kind of kick it out of their own 22 onto the left wing. Bassett ends up getting it because it doesn't run out. It doesn't roll out. He tears up the field, and then he eventually gets brought down. But from the next phase, I think it's Tom Cruise gets the ball, holds it up real nicely for Gaskell to just steam through a gap and go like 20 odd meters for a try. It's proper exquisite stuff. Like this game, as I said, didn't have a lot of flow, but some of the tries were pretty bloody nice, and the Gaskell one is pretty good. 12-0, extra man. It's looking all like Wasps, but Montpellier do get one through Lazowski. It's a loose ball to the ground. He grabs it and just goes length of the field. So Kiparigi tries to run him down, but he can't get there. Poor from Wasps to let them back into it. It's 12-7, and 12-7's game on. That's the way it goes in a halftime. You wouldn't have thought Montpellier's making their life difficult as much as they can, despite the extra man for Wasps. 41 minutes, so start of the second half. Bismarck Duplessis holds up the scrum half. Poured a bit of a try saver from him, so a bit of desperation stuff. Like I said, they're not just going to roll over, even though they're a man down. And then on 47 minutes, Rayak gets a try. Unbelievable. Like, you would have thought Montpellier had the extra man. They get a 5-meter line out. They go through some phases. They get advantage. When they finally spin it wide, the Wasps guys are so tight to the ruck that there's acres of space out there. You would literally think Montpellier's got an extra man because nobody's even near him. He's able to cant over behind the sticks for the try. They get the conversion because it's right out in front, and suddenly Montpellier's in front. Unbelievable from Wasps. I couldn't understand it, but it wasn't for long. Like, it was looking like a bit of a scare, but it didn't last. Odogwu gets the next one on 50 minutes. Barbary with the offload. He puts him into space, so that's his try assist for Barbary. Odogwu's got some real gas. 19-14. It gets a bit messy. The penalty count starting to get a bit high. There's a 5-meter line out for Wasps. Like, as I'm speaking of messy, 5-meter line out. It's like real ugly, but eventually Barbary still manages to get a try from it as they go through how many phases was it? I can't remember, but it's a real messy line out. The fact that they actually managed to get the ball back one and get a try from it two was a bit of a minor miracle, but either way, Barbary's had a heck of a game. 26-14. 64 minutes in Dangebe for Montpellier has a huge run. Great line break. So slick. After some kind of seemingly pretty stop-start stuff, a bit of ugly stuff, some proper class again. Maybe the conditions were pretty bad. It did seem wet. So maybe I'm doing the guys a bit of a disservice. Barbary gets yellow carded from there. I think he killed the ball as Ndangebe was on that big line break. So he was in a bit of everything, old Barbary. And Montpellier take the touch finder because they're that far behind, man. They have to. And they win a few penalties in a row. The ref tells off the front rowers. He tells off the Wasps guys. 69 minutes on, like, goodness knows how many reset scrums. 3. Eventually, Montpellier get pinged at scrum time. So the Wasps guys have massive celebration like it's a real get out of jail for them. However, then they follow up with a line out being not straight. It was a bit painful after so many scrum resets. 74 minutes, the ref tells off the players again. There'd been a bit of handbags. He tells his captains, like, they need to control the players. I feel like those lectures, once you've done like 3 of them, it's worthless, man. You either need to follow up with a card or just don't bother. Just let them have the afters kind of thing. But anyway, the yellow card period's over. Wasps don't concede any points. And then Bassett gets one. No, his one gets chalked off. TMO says he can't overrule the on-field no try, but it's Atkinson who gets the last one. Nice little step inside. His momentum carries him over the line at the death. So 33-14 is how it finishes. So, yeah, I'm not quite sure how to feel about it. Like I mentioned, there were periods of the game that were really ugly, but still some magic line breaks, some magic tries, some real class. So it was a real mixture. Maybe the conditions were worse than they looked on camera because, as I said, it did seem wet. The wind seemed to be pushing the ball away a bit with some of the shots at goal. So 33-14, you can't complain about the scoreline. 5 tries to 2. Hell of a campaign from Wasps so far, right? Bonus point win. Take that all the way to the bank. They finished with 59% position and 60% territory, so you'd expect them to have those numbers with the extra man. 388 run meters to 289. They beat 18 defenders to 8. Turnovers conceded was 13 to 7, which is a lot. 20 turnovers conceded is a lot in one game, but again, partly that's the breakdown work, partly that's the handling. So maybe that led to the game being a little bit stop-start. Penalties conceded, there's 20 in the game, 12 to 8 with Wasps conceding to 12. Both sides tackle in the mid-80s in terms of percentage, but Montpellier make 113 to Wasps 42. Tackle count's not actually that high. Maybe speaks to the ball and play time being a little bit low again with the stop-start nature. Barbary, as I mentioned, gets player of the match. Sopawanga seemed a wee bit inconsistent, had some magic and had some less than magic. But yeah, overall, after the Scarlets game got cancelled, and I was kind of looking to watch this game anyway, pretty happy it was on Sky. Thank you again, Simon, for alerting me to that one. And yeah, good watch, albeit after that. I did manage to avoid the spoilers for the most part. I did see on Twitter that there was an early yellow card, but as soon as I saw that, I closed the phone and was like, no, I'm not going to read anything else. So, But anyway, as I said, good result for Wasps. Take that definitely every day of the week. Bonus point win at home, especially when they'd rotated the squad as much as they did. A few guys I'd never seen play before, and certainly pretty impressive. So, yeah, you guys let me know your thoughts on this one, and yeah, I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.